With 2021 coming to a close, a lot of people are talking about year-end recaps, what happened this year, what to look forward to for next year. But that really got me thinking about things a different way. Using everything that I've learned over the last 8, 9 years selling on Etsy, if I had to start an Etsy business today, what would I do specifically? And that's what I want to dive in and talk to you about today. Let's go. All right, guys, what is up? Welcome back to the Handmade and Beyond podcast. Glad to be back with you guys. Hopefully you're having an awesome holiday season so far. Hard to believe that 2021 is coming to a close already. I mean, it seems like it just started. Now it's ending and we're getting ready to roll into 2022. But anyways, I wanted to bring something different to you guys with this episode and not really talk about what happened this year or a recap or anything like that. I want to talk about if I had to start an Etsy business this year, right now, or next year, what specifically would I do using the information and the knowledge and all the things that I've done wrong and all the things that I've done well over the last several years of selling on Etsy. How would I position that business and what would I do if I was just starting out? And this is probably something that could help you guys out if you've just started or thinking about starting, or maybe you've had a business for a while. Maybe it can help you reposition your thinking and your mindset and maybe what you're doing in your business to get a little bit more oomph out of what you're doing. Maybe you want to start a second shop. I've done second shops, third shops, fourth shops. I've helped people start their shops. I've coached hundreds of people, so I've been able to learn a lot along the way, and a lot of that is making a lot of mistakes along the way as well, which are not as fun, but you learn so much more from mistakes than you do from success, in my opinion, because success, you give yourself a pat on the back, you keep going. Mistakes, you have to pivot, or you should pivot if you're not giving up, which you should never give up. And you make those changes, and more times than not, if you make those changes, maybe you have to pivot several times, you will ultimately find success, or will be able to move your business forward in the way that you choose. So that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about a couple of different things that I would do if I was starting a business, and bring that to you so hopefully you can learn and improve your business, which is always the goal of these podcasts, right? All right, so the first thing that I would do if I was starting a business today is I would work backwards. What do I mean by that? Well, I would start, a lot of people start with the name of their business, or, kind of a broader niche of an idea of what they want to do. They focus on their branding, maybe their website, all that stuff, but I would focus on the end product line first. What do you want to bring to your customers? What products do you want to bring to your customers? And you notice how I say products is because you really have to have a product line. You can't really bring just one product. It's not going to be enough unless you have something where you have a ton of different variations. Which is possible. A lot of people do that, and that's a product line. If you have a product that has a lot of different variations, a lot of different uses, you can do that as well. But I would start at the end of that, what product line you're bringing to your customer, and then work backwards from that, and that will help you define the rest and get a little bit more specific. For example, if you started with, maybe you want to sell mugs, and you started with your name, Molly's Mugs. Maybe you want to do dog mugs, maybe you want to do beer mugs. There's a lot of different options there. So you could kind of get lost in that. And then when you go to start doing products, you're kind of all over the place. You see this all the time with different businesses where they're kind of like all over the place. And if you're trying to offer products for everybody and you're not targeting anyone specifically, you target nobody, as the old marketing adage goes. So focus on the end product. So maybe you want to do mugs specifically for animal lovers, specifically for dog and cat owners. All right, then you're niched down. You know exactly what you're going to focus on, what your product line is going to be, and then you can even tailor your name. Your name is no longer going to be Molly's Mugs because that's very broad. It's going to be something related more to cat and dog owners. And that will help you niche down. That'll help you get a better target audience. That'll help you be able to find better keywords and position yourself as a leader in the market for people that are looking for animal-related mugs, animal-related gifts. So work backwards. It'll help you define your branding. It'll help you define your name. And then you'll have a really good handle on what you're going to bring to market, what you're going to offer your customers, so you're not all over the place. Because oftentimes what happens is, if you're kind of all over the place, if you want to do multiple different things, which a lot of you guys do because you're very creative, what happens is it very much slows you down, because then you can't decide what to do. You maybe have 5, 6, 7, 8 ideas, and you're like, I could fit these all into my brand. I could do all these things. But then you're like, well, okay, which one do I want to focus on first? Maybe I just focus on a couple of each. And again, then you're all over the place. Your shop is all over the place as far as who the target audiences are, who the customers are. And that makes it really hard, not only for people to find you, but for the algorithm to pin down what you're selling, what you're the expert seller in, what audience to send you. And it just makes your journey all that much tougher. So work backwards. It will help you pin down, nail down what you're going to bring to market, and be able to laser focus on that. And at the end of the day, it will help you become more successful in that specific area. Not to mention, it'll help you niche down, which, as they say, the riches are in the niches. You have to niche down at least somewhat, and then it'll help you target your audience better, market better to that audience as well. All right, the next thing I would do is I'd focus only on high market niches. An online business is really tough to begin with, but when you're making little money or very little margin, it's even tougher. It's really going to be hard for you guys to stay the course, to deal with that when you're really not making money doing what you're doing. And I see it all the time. People will jump into a niche or jump into a market, and they're really not making much of a margin. They're making a few bucks per sale or even less than that. And it becomes really, really hard to stay motivated, because that's really not going to make you financially secure. That's not going to enable you to reinvest and grow your business with improving equipment, improving systems, improving processes, which you really will need to be able to do that. It will not enable you to run promotions, run marketing, because you're not going to have any meat left on the bone to do that stuff. And online business, e-commerce business, you have to be able to market that business. And usually you have to be able to run sales, run promotions, create a buzz around your product. And if you just don't have enough margins, you're not going to be able to do that. And you certainly don't want to do it if you're losing money, which is just craziness. But I see people do that as well, where they lose money running a business, which you should never do if you set your business up the right way. And that usually comes down to, what is your margin at the end of the day? How much meat is left on the bone? How much money are you making after you sell that product? And usually I consider, high margin niches or products is usually 50% or more. It's going to be really hard for me to get out of bed in the morning and focus on a business where I'm not at least making 50% of every sale. Sometimes in certain situations you can take a little bit less, and there's always that balance of selling more with taking a little bit less margin, or selling less and taking a higher margin. You want to find that balance in your business and in your product, but you want to start at least with a higher margin niche, because it'll enable you to do so much more with your business. If you're coming out of the gate and your margin's 10%, 5%, there is just nothing left on the bone. I would maybe switch up your niche, or find another niche where you can make more money in your margin, or do a little bit more research on manufacturing or producing the product cheaper without making it chintzy or cheap for your customer. And a lot of businesses do that. You can evolve, or maybe you start out with a lower margin out of the gate, knowing that if you do well, you can reinvest that money and increase your margin down the road, because you can invest in better equipment, better systems, better processes. So if you do have that upside, you can maybe take a little bit less margin out of the gate, knowing that there is that upside to work towards as your business grows. So those are some reasons why maybe you can take a little bit less margin out of the gate. So think of your margins. You should know those numbers. You should know kind of where you stand, and make sure you are considering that in your niche when you're pinning down, nailing down what you're going to do, what you're going to sell, your product line, all that good stuff. The next thing I want to talk about that I think is really important, and if I was starting a business today, I would focus on a niche with a bigger barrier to entry. And what do I mean by barrier to entry? Basically, that means it's harder to get into the niche, usually meaning that it's harder to either create the product or it's more expensive to create the product. So remember that the easier the barrier to entry is, the more competition there will be. So if someone can easily do something similar or create something similar, or someone can create something very cheap, chances are there's going to be more competition, a lot more competition for that product. So getting into a niche that requires more skill or a bigger investment may benefit you in the long run, because there's going to be naturally less people doing that, because it's harder to do. It's more expensive to do. And usually that means that there is more skill involved, or more equipment, more supplies, more techniques that may be used in doing that niche, creating those products. So a good example of this is if, for the people that do, like, not to knock any of these people, because there's people that have great, really successful businesses doing these niches, but I'm just using it as an example because it is high competition. Printables, PDF downloads, print on demand. Most people can do those because it doesn't require a lot of skill. Now, if you're an artist and you're doing stuff from scratch, yeah, your printables and your downloads and your POD stuff can be something that no one else can create, because you're actually an artist and you're using those talents and skills to create those products. You're just delivering them in a mode that's easier for you, because you don't want to create them on your end. You just want to have someone download them. You just want to have another company create them. So again, that's just an example, because those markets are pretty much flooded, but you can still carve out your piece of a successful pie doing those niches. But you'll find that with niches like that, where anyone can do them, there's a lot of junk. There's a lot of people just throw stuff up trying to make a quick dollar, when they're not really concerned with actually having a business, growing long-term, being in the game long-term. And that can help you also set yourself apart. If you are in this for the long run, you can eventually pass those people, and because those people aren't going to find success selling, because they're not serious about it. But think about it in terms of barrier to entry. If you have a couple ideas, there's different things that you want to do. What can you do that requires more skill and or requires a bigger investment from you, which maybe you absolutely can't invest more. That's fine. Maybe you want to be able to do that down the road, save money and be able to do that down the road. Maybe something that requires you to get a laser printer or a 3D printer. Those things are big investments. So if you're making that stuff, the barrier to entry is going to be a lot less. There's going to be a lot less competition. But I would focus on, if I was doing a business today, I would focus on something with a higher barrier to entry, and be able to get a little bit of a head that way. It doesn't mean there's not going to be competition. If you're in a good niche that has a sizable market, there's going to always be competition. And that's a good thing, because that shows you that the market size is good. So you can always set yourself apart, like I said before, if there is competition, doing your own thing, having your own flavor, having your own style, having your own spin. You're rarely going to create something that's brand new that hasn't been done before, but that doesn't mean you can't put your own flavor on it, your own spin, do something differently, come at it a different way. There's a lot of things that you can do to set yourself apart from the rest and be a leader in your market, in your niche. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that because it is something that you should think about, because it will, impact how fast you can be successful even, I'm in the graphic t-shirt space. It's my most successful Etsy business by far. Tons and tons of competition. One of the biggest, most flooded markets out there. But I still carved out my path and have a very successful business on Etsy because I do my own thing. I use the knowledge and skills that I've learned to be a better marketer, but I've carved out my own path, and I can still compete with a lot of these other consumers out there. So don't let that stop you. Don't let competition stop you. But it's important to know barriers to entry and think about this stuff in a different way so you can give yourself the best chance of success. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is kind of similar to what I was just talking about, but get in a niche. If I was starting a business today, I would get in a niche with a large market and lots of demand. What does a large market and lots of demand mean? More chance of success, right? Because that means there's more customers out there and you'll have a better chance of making sales. So you can tell demand by monthly searches, sales, competition, like I said before, is a good indicator of market size. And there's different websites, third-party tools that you can use. I use Alora, which you can tell monthly sales, monthly searches, best-selling products, all that stuff that you can use to your advantage to know if you're in a niche with a big market size, with a big customer base, because at the end of the day, that will give you more chances of success. Yeah, you're going to release your own product line. You're going to put your own spin, your own style on it. What you're going to offer is going to be different from the competition, but it's still going to be in that niche. You're still going to be targeting that market, which again is going to give you a better chance of success if you're in a larger market. But this also means when you start, you have to do your due diligence, right? You have to do your research. You have to see your market, see the market size, and know if you're in a market that has a good customer base. And I'm all for jumping in head first and just diving right in and doing something, trying, testing, new products, new ideas. But sometimes a little research can help give you the edge and help give you a better chance of success, so you're not wasting time early on. But again, use it sparingly, and when it's needed. Don't go down the rabbit hole of doing all this research and day after day doing research and not taking action, not actually opening your business because you're using it as an excuse, because that is the other end of the spectrum, right? So use the information that's out there. See if you have a good market size. Okay, you have a good market size. Jump in, go, get your shop open, get your products out there, start selling. The next thing that I would make sure to do, and this is something that I struggled with for a long time, and it took me a while to develop, but I would create a specific workflow and schedule that focuses on the three most important areas of pretty much any business, which is sales, growth, and marketing. A lot of people, when they start a business, they're kind of all over the place as what to focus on. They're focused on things that really don't move their business forward, and a lot of things that are time wasters. So if you're focusing on these three areas, these three buckets, it'll keep you consistently moving your business forward, focusing on taking action based on strategy and having a strategic focus. The key to this is having specific daily actionable tasks. A lot of people get lost and they focus on things that really don't matter. They're not going to move their business forward. So if you're not doing things daily in your business that are related to increasing sales, growing your business, marketing your business, you're wasting your time more likely than not. Yeah, you're going to have to do things in your business that aren't always related to those things. Like you're making your products. That's not really related to any of those things specifically. Now, if you're doing new products, that's growth, obviously. But there's going to be things here and there that aren't related to those specifically. But if you're interjecting daily tasks that are related to those three things, that will consistently move your business forward. And that's where you should sit down and break out your schedule. Okay, what am I doing Monday? What am I doing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and have specific, have specific actionable tasks that you're focused on specific days of the week. And that'll keep your business moving forward, humming along, growing, increasing sales. And like I said, I struggled with this early on for a while because I didn't really have a strategic focus. I was just waking up and doing what I thought I should be doing. A lot of times it would stress me out because I didn't know what to do. I really didn't. I was just trying to figure out, okay, well, this is what I think I should do. I mean, I don't really know. It was different every day. So that creates a lot of stress. The unknowns create a lot of stress. So it provides a little bit of structure for you, and it's a strategic focus as well, which a lot of people lose sight of when you do your own business. When you're working for someone else, you have a lot of structure. You have a lot of things based on strategy, but other people have set those things in place over years and decades. You don't even realize they're there. So you got to do the same thing in your own business, but do it in your own way. That's the fun of having your own business. But we often forget that you still need structure. You still need a strategic focus to be able to improve and grow. So make sure you're doing that in your business. No matter where you're at, you can always benefit from creating that specific workflow in your business based on those 3 buckets. All right. The next thing that I would make sure to do is launch my business with as many listings as possible. 1, 2, have a plan to add new listings every month for the next 2 years. This will give you data to help show you the way, like a Star Wars movie, show you the way, and give you more information to make decisions. All right, so this is information that you're going to not only give for yourself, you're going to put out listings for your customers. You're going to give it to the algorithm. And then over time, it's going to give you information based on those listings. What keywords are doing well, what products are doing well, what questions are you getting about those products, what's selling, what's not selling. There's a lot of information to be gleaned. Often, a lot of people will launch a shop with a couple of products, which is fine, but then they never add anything else. They just let it set and forget. Is what a lot of people do. And that is a bad motto to have when running a business. You never set and forget, because set and forget means that not only you'll forget about it, everyone else will too, and it'll just stagnate and spoil. So make sure you are consistently working on your business, and that usually is feeding it with new stuff and taking a look at what's happening with your existing stuff and using that information to your advantage to make decisions for the future. But that takes time, and you have to give it time. You have to be patient, which I'm going to talk about next. But make sure you're consistently working on your business. It's delayed gratification. That's what really gets a lot of people with running an online business. A lot of times you're not going to find success right away. It may take 1, 2, 3, 4 years to really find your groove and start really bringing in revenue, which is what happened to me. It took a good chunk of time, but all the while I kept working on it. Day after day, week after week, whenever I had spare time, I chipped away at it. And those little time moments where you're working on your business, 5 minutes here and there, 10 minutes here and there, will go a long way, and it'll compound. And then you'll really start seeing the returns. But a lot of that work you have to put in up front, you're not going to see the returns right away. It's delayed gratification. That's what really trips a lot of people up, and why a lot of people quit in their business is because they don't want to wait. We're in an instant gratification society, so they want that instant gratification. They want sales right away. If they don't get them, they're closing down their shop within a month, then a couple of months, and they're just not going to mess around with it. And it's just success on Etsy, and really in any e-commerce business, comes to those that are consistent in their business, and that are patient, and that are in it for the long haul. So remember that when you're setting up your business and when you're running your business. The last thing I want to leave you with is a couple of mindset things, and this is something that I have to still tell myself, but it is really important. But when you're doing your business, remember to be patient, like I was just talking about. Be humble, because you're going to make mistakes. You're going to mess up. No one's perfect. Learn. It's a constant learning. You're going to be constantly learning. So use that information. Embrace the learning. Embrace the journey, and use that information to your advantage. Knowledge is power. Take action. Don't set it and forget it. Learn. Take what you're learning and put that into action. And remember, giving up is not an option. It shouldn't be an option for you. And you can never fail if you never give up, right? If you never give up, you can never fail in your business. So remember that. Keep going. Don't stop. You'll get there. You only fail if you give up. And that's what I want you guys to remember when you're doing your business, when you're starting your business, when you're running your business, when you're trying to be successful, when you're trying to grow. Remember those things, because those are really important. That's all I got for today. Hopefully that helps you guys out in your business, but those are the key things that I've learned along the way, things that I do now and will do in the future as I'm growing my business, starting new businesses. They are really invaluable things to keep in mind so you can have the best chance of success now and in the future. So hopefully that helps you guys out as well. The last thing I want to leave you guys with, if you are brand new, just starting out, are looking to start an Etsy business or just started one, I do have an Etsy quick start guide I'd like to give you guys for free. If you go to handmadeandbeyond.com/quick start, you can download that free guide. Has many tips in there to get you guys started so that you can have the best chance of success starting out, avoid problem areas, and really have a good idea, a good understanding of what to do, what to focus on when you're just starting your business. So go to that link. I'll drop it in the show notes below, wherever you're watching this, to get that free Etsy Quick Start Guide. But I'll be back really, really soon with another good episode for you guys. Have an amazing rest of your day and an awesome rest of your holiday season.